All right, everyone. It is the first Friday of 2024. I can't believe it, Kurt. And I am incredibly excited for our guest today because we have none other than Allison DeFord, aka Wonder Woman. Kurt Anderson, are you as excited as I am for this day?
Dude, I haven't slept in a week. Are you kidding me? This is what a way to kick off the new year. This has become like a New Year tradition. It's almost like,
Yes,
at Christmas time, if you and your family watch like, Wonderful Life or Home Alone or whatever it might be, or maybe New Year's. For us, Damon, it's having Allison DeFord as our first guest to always kick off the year. Felt marketing CEO extraordinaire, Allison DeFord. How are you, my friend?
I'm fabulous. Fabulous. How are you guys?
We'll just leave it at that. Just what's your word for the year, Allison?
Vibrant.
Vibrant. Woo. Write that down, Damon.
Vibrant.
And any backstory to being vibrant? Anything that you want to share there?
Yeah. You guys know, and I don't know if people that are here with us know, but I have a mastermind group of 2 other agency owners. I call them the Super Friends, and we've been planning the year ahead every single year for 10 years. And so we always try to come up with our word. And it used to be our words. Like we would have 4, and then I went down to 3. And then last year I said, you know what, ladies, I need 1. I need 1 word because 3 was like a little too much. So vibrant comes about because we take the time to figure out, how do we want to feel? I talk a lot about how do you want your customers to feel? I think it's important. We learned this from Danielle Laporte and her Firestarter series, desire mapping. I can't take credit for this, but it's really, you hear people talk a lot about it right now. And I think a lot of people don't really know the purpose of finding that word. And so vibrant to me is, how do I want to feel? How do I want to show up? And whether it's what I'm wearing, whether it's what I'm learning, how I'm being of service, if I can bring vibrance to every interaction, every event, every WTMFG, every time I sit down to write, then that'll feel pretty good. So.
All right, Damon, speaking of word of the year, and she said what you're wearing, right? So
yeah.
How about manufacturing Trailblazer for a word of the year? How about that one? So,
that.
So if anybody out there is not familiar, Allison DeFord is the authority on being a manufacturing Trailblazer. This fine attire comes from our dear friend Allison. So, Allison, thank you for the swag.
Yeah. And the thing I got to say, Allison, is, I'll be strolling down the dog park in the summertime. And it's funny, the looks you get. They look at your shirt and they go, what? It's great. I love wearing it.
Well, the next one I'm going to send you is going to say felt. So
nice.
All right. There you go.
What kind of looks you get there?
Well, exactly. So, all right. So, hey, let's dive in. We've got a ton to cover. Yeah. Now, you mentioned, I want to give a little teaser because you've got a little gift at the end. And I'll tell you, it was a very special holiday this season. I had a little dose of Allison on a daily basis. Can you give everybody a little teaser? And they've got to stick around to the end to get the little package here. But can you what is the 12 days of Feltmas? Can you please enlighten everyone?
Yeah, well, we started doing that, I think, last year, if not the year before, because we wanted to, it was like, how could we give more than just a social post that says, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And it's really pretty challenging. I did a 30-day breakthrough boot camp in 2020.
Yep.
Showed up every single day for 30 days with a recording and a downloadable PDF and a message to help guide you. And I had actually forgotten that was 30 whole days. Like, it was a lot of work, but I thoroughly loved it.
Damon and I were both part of it.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah.
And so the 12 days of Feltmas was like, what could we give for 12 days that by the end you have something like a playbook that sets you up for success in the next year, in the new year. And so that's what we did. And it really guides you through a lot of the, I think, major foundational parts and pieces, which that's what Felt's gift really is. It's that foundational part of your brand to build it. I'm not Nicole Donnelly, right? I'm not the DMG Digital. That's not our specialty. Like I've told her, if I could build, we could build brand foundations for people, and then I will just hand them off to her, her team. Like that's what our real sweet spot is. And so really just helping people figure out some of those things that may be missing. And also, me, I always talk about heart. Everything starts from the inside out, including marketing. So there's a couple things in this particular PDF that will help people, I think, get a little more in tune with what's going on in here and in here so that you can show up differently.
Absolutely. So connect with Allison here on LinkedIn, and she's got a little gift for you. And so we've got a ton to unpack. Stick around with us to the end, and she will have that little notice for you. Allison, let's dive in. Okay. And so now, Damon, what a repeat offender we have here. Allison, how many times have you, now you know that we're live today, right? You do know that.
Yeah. Like I said before, at least I'm not being tricked this time.
Yes.
Hey, you want to jump on a call? Oh, sure. Oh, hi, we're live.
Yeah. So you do know today you've had preparation. I mean, you have time to think about this, and it wasn't like
I even brought my grilling tools in preparation. So today is a different, Today I had a little.
It's not a text and go, hey, you want to get on a call?
Jump on a call?
Yeah. Hey, Allison, what are you doing right now? So, and for the record, that was a dynamic call. It was right in the heart of COVID. It was very so. All right, we're talking emotional, and what I have learned so much from you over the course of our friendship, and just super excited to kick off the new year by learning more. We've got 4 points that we're going to dive into today. Let's go right in. What is number 1?
Well, I'm going to call this the precursor to number 1. Is I want, hey Ray, my unicorn.
Happy New Year, Ray.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everybody to stop running with your hair on fire. And besides you.
You'll end up looking like me, for goodness gracious, right?
It will be a quick fire for me.
Well, I was thinking about this, and I thought, what's the biggest observation that I had this last year? And it was, why are everybody's so busy being busy?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's into way too many meetings. You got your nose in your phone, like all the time.
Yep.
And you're just not really present. Like one of the first days of Feltmas was presence, being here versus presence, the gifts. And I think that's really important. I've been thinking about this a lot. And I thought, God, instead, what if we flipped the script? I love that phrase, and spent more time learning something new or observing the person who's right in front of us than consuming other people's lives, so-called lives. There's nothing wrong with social media. I'm not putting it down, but I'm saying we spend an exorbitant amount of time on it, and more than we do. I thought, God, I want to learn a new language. I want to learn, I enjoy cooking. I want to learn more about cooking. I want to finish learning the ukulele, which I started last year. And I thought, how much time do I spend on those things?
Right.
Compared to how much time I spend on the other stuff. And I think it goes with our business too. And so I've decided I want to encourage everybody here. I want to drop the challenge. Stop running with scissors, okay? And start walking with pruning shears. Think of the difference, right?
Nice.
Think of the difference. So I'm gonna start there with a challenge, and then that will lead us into the points.
All right, let's savor that one since we're on a grilling kick right here, Damon. So stop running with scissors and start using the pruning shears. And the great thing is, we think about pruning, right? Growth, right? Growth opportunity, the, flowers that are going to bloom, and just all the, what a phenomenal analogy. Our buddy Ray says, hey, presence versus presence.
Yeah.
Love it. So, all right, you teed that up very well. And again, guys, Allison, if you go check out her website, go to her LinkedIn, follow her on LinkedIn. You have just amazing, one of the most creative minds of like really simplifying these marketing strategies. So let's dive in. Let's keep it rolling.
Well, everybody's talking right now about what are your goals, for 2024. And God, yesterday, Robin Sharma, I don't know if you follow him or not. He's been kind of one of my mentors, in the periphery for a number of years. He says it's not about what you do annually. It's about what you do daily.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, brick to the head. I thought that is so true. So what I want to encourage people to do is, instead of jumping into your goals, right? You've got to stop, and I call it stop, drop, and review. So take some time, if you haven't already, and this is in the gift that I'm going to give. It's like, really take a look at your wins, losses, ahas, and fixes. That's what the Super Friends and I do every single week. We do it on our own on Sunday. We send each other the update, which again is one of the beauties of having a mastermind group, whether it's you and a colleague, or, you and a couple people, or it's larger, and you hold each other accountable, and you really take a look at what did I learn last year? Like, what was a real win? And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be something really that seems small, but it had a big impact. Right. And then, what isn't working anymore? What do I need to stop doing? That was a big one for me. I mean, I wrote a few things down and I went, ooh, I need to stop doing those things, because that's permanent.
Is there anything that you want to share? Curious minds are longing to know. Is there any particular, like, I call them time wasters, profit killers. And unfortunately, I even at my age, I'm constantly like, why am I doing this? Stop doing it. Were there any that you've come across, Allison, that you want to share?
I would say comparisonitis.
Ooh. Woo.
I waste time.
Huge.
Right? Spending minutes or out, I don't sit around for days like lamenting about this, but I see what other people are doing in our space, and then like the self-doubt sets in, and I think, oh gosh, they have 75,000 followers, Damon, and I have just over 6,000. Like, I suck. And then I go, well, hold up, and that's again when I flip the script and go, stop. Right. Damon is a different person than me. Kurt is a different person than me. Each of us is showing up and bringing our gifts, and each of us matters a great deal. Right. So I want to spend less time feeling bad or questioning my self-worth because of what other people are doing.
Comparisonitis. It's a horrible, dreaded disease. And boy, if you come up with a pill to conquer that one, Allison, you'll make a fortune. So anyway,
I need to work on that.
Right. And it's just, and it's all here, right? It's all
oh yeah,
all right here.
Yeah.
Right. Damon, anything that you want to share on that?
And that was a big one for me last year. It really was, because same thing, and but I want to tell you a surprising thing for me is I listen to a lot of music, and I listen to a lot of country music, and I was really thinking about the lyrics in country music, and I enjoy it. I think they're funny. I think it's entertaining, but I also realized that country music, the lyrics in it really talk about a lot of dark stuff that really focuses on negative things. And I'm going to listen to less of it and replace it with other things that are put a different messages in my mind, because one of the things, and for long story short, I'm feeding my mind better materials.
Yep.
Right.
If there's any way to say it, I'm feeding my mind, I'm getting rid of, and I'm feeding it better materials.
Well, and on that note, that's another thing that I did recently is I unfollowed people on Instagram that I realized every time I see one of their posts, and these aren't even people I know, this might be a celebrity or somebody
Right,
that
right.
I admire, I realized what sets in at what do I feel every time I see a post from them? Oh my God, their lives look so perfect and beautiful. And they're like so skinny and their makeup's perfect. And I would feel bad about myself. And I thought, no, you've got to go. So unfollow.
Awesome. Hey, we've got some great comments here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Emmanuel paying attention to what works and what doesn't, complements the SWOT.
Yep.
Emmanuel, thank you. Happy New Year, my
Yeah.
friend. That's a great comment. I love John's comment. Every quarter, I seem to create 3 to 4 new shiny objects that dilute my efforts. Amen, brother.
Yeah, John. Good one there.
That stopping exercise is key. Love it. Matt just says, hey, just follow Packers and life is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
So go Pack. And then Ray says, I just want to be like Damon. Just say it. So,
No, you don't. It's a scary place.
Yep. And John, great advice here, what we eat physically and mentally. So, all right, great conversation. So guys, if you're just joining us, we've got Allison DeFord, the CEO of manufacturing trailblazing extraordinaire from Thought Marketing. We just covered stop, drop, and review. Allison, anything else you want to cover? Or are we ready to dive into number 2?
I think with stop, drop, and review, I think one other point that's really important is start, stop, continue. So are there some things that are working well, right? That you really maybe conquered last year? Keep doing them. I think that sometimes we think we have to like let it all go and start fresh. Oh, it's a new slate. It's a clean white canvas. I'm thinking, no, it's not. You've got you've built a foundation and a system. So what are the things you're going to keep doing, stop doing, and what are some things you could start doing to get some different results? So I think that's important.
That's phenomenal, man. Dude, our first drop the mic for 2024. How's that? Drop the mic right there. I love it.
And just they keep coming.
All right, Allison, keep the fire burning, will you please? Man, can you guys smell the grilling?
You smell it? It's going to be time to flip the burger soon and the steaks, but I'm prepared, so don't worry. The other thing, I think we're all tired already. It's week 1 of, can I say the F word? Okay, I won't.
Sure.
Resolutions. Like, let's stop doing that. We make this big list, and then by the end of the first 30 days, you've not looked at it one more time. It's in your computer somewhere in a PDF, or you taped it up and now it's already gotten coffee stain on it. It's covered with some other stuff. And, I think it makes more sense to do 90-day sprints. Let's just do a 90-day sprint and let's take what we learned from the stop, drop, and review, and let's figure out, what are these like smaller milestones? Like and then write yourself a letter. And of course, I didn't make this up. You guys have heard other people say this, but write yourself a letter. I love the one where you say like, hey, dear Allison, it's the end of 2025, 24. What year are we in? It's the end of 2024. I'm feeling this. I'm making this. I've made this kind of an impact, blah, blah, blah. I think that's super because it sets you up for success. But what if you did a smaller note for by the end of March? And I did this for myself. I kind of did it in my head. I need to write it down. I felt so excited and like almost like this relief, because I thought, oh, it's a smaller window. And the important thing with, I think, 90-day sprints is that you can adjust. You don't have to, maybe your goals change. Instead of these big, bold resolutions, like maybe bring it down a notch. Like I saw somebody on Instagram. Oh my God, it was so funny. She had this little checklist and it was like, lose 20 pounds, earn $200,000. And she just crossed off a couple of the zeros. And it was like, all right, I lost 2 pounds. I'm good. So I think if we shrink those down a little bit, I think it's a little more digestible and doable. And so start with Q1 and then adjust. Same with your strategy. I think yearly, annual goals are very important, but what's your 90-day sprint look like? And then make adjustments before Q2.
And we do that in the businesses. We do that in the business we help. We set up, what are we doing this quarter? What are we, we look at the year. We kind of know what we're doing for the year, where we want to get to, but you got to look at it by quarter, because otherwise you have too many different priorities.
Right. And I love what Ray says here. Ray, thank you, my friend. Resolution for 2024, do fewer things better. And somebody drops a note, Happy New Year's and Happy New Year to you, my friend. Allison, the fire is burning hot.
Let's see. Let me check the grill. I think it's important to stop and think about how you want to feel and how you want your customers to feel. And I talk about this a lot, and people are probably so tired of me talking about this.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming.
Like, how many meetings have you sat in when people were working on their budget for the next year and their strategy, and anybody said, how do we want our customers to feel at every touch point? Now, when I ask that question, I could literally hear crickets. When I start working with a client, everybody looks at each other, then they look at the owner to see what his or her reaction is going to be. And then they look at me like, I think it's crazy. So, but it's true. Like, if you think about, when was the last time you took yourself through your own process?
Right.
When was the last time you focused on, like we were talking about our word for the year, right? Why do I want to feel vibrant?
Right.
And so I always say marketing starts from the inside out. And I think that is intrinsically tied with us as people. If we start from the inside, it's all connected. So, do you want your customers to feel taken care of? Do you want them to feel supported? Do you want them to feel surprised and delighted?
Right.
I mean, do you guys ever hear anybody talk about this in a meeting?
Not often. And I tell you, what I absolutely love, we've done I've sat in on a number of your webinars that when we hook up with the MEPs and what have you, and you've taught me and share with the folks. And again, I don't think anybody that's heard you, we never get tired of this information. You have a percentage. What percentage of a buying decision is emotional?
Last research I did, 85 to 90%.
85 to 90%. Let's talk about savoring. Let's let that sink in, and let's talk about that for a minute. So, when you go to, local store, you're going to buy your favorite manufacturing Trailblazer t-shirt or whatever you're going to buy. Why you're buying it at, how it makes you feel, right? So our personal things, why you go to Starbucks versus another coffee shop, why you drive this car versus another car. But if you're a custom manufacturer and you're buying a particular part, or just, there's not a brand name behind it, let's talk, maybe the three of us could chime in about that for a minute. We're like, oh, well, we're not Starbucks. We're not brand sensitive. That buyer, that engineer is absolutely making an emotional buying decision.
Yep.
Right. Allison, you say, how do they find you, trust you, choose you? Right. Can we talk about that for a minute? Let's go into that let's dive into that for a minute.
Well, don't you think that it makes sense if we make it easier for people to find us first and foremost? Because I don't know about you, but I've gone and searched for companies, and by God, it was really hard to find them online. I thought, something's wrong with this picture. So that's number one. You got to be findable, meaning you've got to have, I think pretty decent SEO, and you've got to have content out there so that you show up. You don't have to be number one on page one of the search, but if somebody's looking for you, I would hope there's quite a bit that would come up about you so that they can find you. So be findable, and then you want to make it easy to trust you. And we build trust, as our good buddy Greg Michio is always talking about, with good content. That's not just words, that's video, that's freebies, that's lives, that's people getting to know you before they ever pick up the phone. And I think that's one of the most important changes in marketing that's happened because of digital, right? Is before all we had was like, your salesperson or you picked up the phone and the person never saw your face, they got to know you maybe from your voice. Or maybe you put out an article here or there. But now we have unlimited opportunities for people to trust us ahead of time. So then it makes the decision so much easier, right? And make the value clear so the decision is easy. So then they're going to choose you. And you want to be top of mind. That's the whole point of making regular content and showing up.
No, it's so powerful. And let's talk about that. We're Gen Xers, right? So we're digital immigrants. And so maybe back in the day, the new technology, new communication was this cutting edge thing called email, right?
Yeah.
Very impersonal. Like, there's always a loss in translation. Was she being funny? Was she being snarky? Was she being insulting? What was that? Right?
The emojis, by the way.
So
you couldn't do a just
yeah.
There are no.
What are those things,
right? No. So the thing is, if that's what you've been used to for the past X number of years, man, when you get a new client, new customer, get them on a Zoom call, get them on a video. It just takes it to a whole new level. I had brand new somebody came to our show last month, Damon, connected with me on LinkedIn. 2 days ago, sent me this awesome article in Forbes about reshoring and manufacturing, the renaissance of manufacturing in the United States. I'm like, didn't ask me for anything, wasn't trying to sell me anything. I'm like, what a classy touch. I'm like, dude, you got me on that one. That was a really nice act, So the thing is, how can you just deliver that value and help make that buying decision? It's going to be emotional, whether you like it or not. Right. And I think we've talked about this. Maybe we talked about last year, that's not personal. It's business. Everything's personal. Everything's personal. Right.
Yeah. If you look at our stuff, and we specifically talked about this last year because of what Allison said, because we were me, I'm a logical guy, and I didn't really, growing up the way we have and in business, you just weren't supposed to bring the personal. But part of our brand now is we want to be the people that you're happy to have a conversation and a beer with at a barbecue,
right?
And someone that you feel comfortable enough that if you got a problem, you can call them and they're going to answer the phone.
Right.
That's the kind. To a personal level, we need to take these things as market to understand that our companies really are that in what we do. And as to your point earlier, Allison, if your customers don't feel that way, you got to change that. If you either change what you're saying or change what you're doing,
and you can.
Oh yeah,
I see so many larger. I finally decided last year, the reason that I love working with small to mid-sized manufacturers versus large corporate is the large corporate ones are so wrapped up in red tape and legal and reorging every year and just a bunch of BS that clearly they're doing something right because they're making mega money. Okay. Mega sales.
Right.
So I can't fault them, but working on projects isn't as fun because they're afraid to have a personality. And so we'll try to add a little bit of humor or a little pop culture, and I'll get pushback. Even in e-blasts that we're going to be sending before, during, and after a trade show for them. And they're like, why are we asking people this question at the end? Why are we at PS? What's the... And I said, because that's how you get people to respond.
Right.
Why would you not want them to engage with this email? It's not just a blast.
Right.
It's a conversation. Right. And I'll tell you what, they allowed us to do it. They gave us a little leeway and they said, holy cow, people have responded. Yeah. We never get that. People are like, thought it was fun. And I went, okay, that's kind of what we were going for.
People like doing business with people. People like doing business with their friends. And for the record, as we come across the top of the hour, if you're just joining us, we're here with Allison DeFord, Felt Marketing, AKA Wonder Woman. And if you want hands down, if you're going through the unsubscribe on your newsletters, which is a wise thing to do, is we're trying to simplify one newsletter that you absolutely man, I couldn't encourage you, invite you, welcome you enough to sign up for Allison DeFord's newsletter. Hands down, the best letter. That's like Hall of Fame. It's not even an all-star newsletter. It is a Hall of Fame newsletter. Allison, let's just give a shout out to your newsletter real quick. Where can they find it on your website? And just like, tell us a little bit, like, how do you come up with that every year?
Great questions. Well, they can go to feltmarketing.com/subscribe. It's called WTMFG, and it is the only marketing newsletter with heart. And the reason that we called it that was, we wanted something fun and memorable. And it's like kind of what the flux going on in manufacturing right now. And again, you know me, I love to play on words and I love humor, and it's part of our personality. So yeah, every 2 weeks, sometimes it feels like birthing a calf to put that out, because I like to do it ahead of time. There are times when I've actually done it on Sunday. I don't recommend that. And it really, you feel like squeezing your butt cheeks together to hope some magic comes out that will inspire and equip people to improve their marketing and make sales easier. And I think what I've learned is it takes practice.
Yeah.
Making the commitment first and foremost is the most important thing you can do. Make the commitment. So like at the end of every one, I say, I'll see you back here in 2 weeks on January,
whatever.
And it's this commitment that I've made. Right. And Tim Rethlake talks about what are you known for? What can people count on you for? Why are you dependable? And I love that, because it's a great question and it's a lot of responsibility. And so I think what's exciting about it is it forces me to show up no matter what. Even when I don't think I have anything to talk about, I surprise myself every single time. And I learn so much. And it brings me so much joy. Like it literally fills me. It's like somebody hands me $1 million every time I do it. It's just that much fun, even when it's hard. And I'm like, it's true. It's really true. And is there anything you guys do that feels like that? And then you think, okay, that was worth it. Like maybe it's running or lifting weights or some kind of thing where sometimes it feels really hard, but you made a promise. So by God, you follow through and do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Damon, maybe the wives might describe us like that, but other than that, I can't think of anything else. I'm just teasing. So I'll tell you, labor of love, but for what it's worth, it is worth every word that you put out there.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I read it. Sometimes when it comes across, I stop what I'm doing to read it. Or if you're sending it out on Sunday night, I look forward to it that first thing on Monday morning. And so please keep it for what it's worth. If you're always like, does anybody, it's like, remember that song from Chicago? I'm showing my age. Yeah. Is anybody listening? Does anybody really care? Well, man, it is absolutely awesome. And there's a lot of people that do love your newsletters. That's for sure. So, all right. Hey, we're over the top of the hour and we're here with Allison DeFord. Allison, just to recap, if you're just joining us, we've talked about stop, drop, and review. If you're curious about that, you need to hit the little rewind button when we're done and go back and listen. We've talked about stop those darn resolutions. Allison had some really great tips on how to not to have that resolution overwhelm or, feeling down on yourself about resolutions. You want to go back and catch that. We talked about how do you make your customers feel. Every decision is an emotional decision. Allison, you do a great job of explaining that, describing that. Before we get into item number 4, is there anything else that we want to hit or scratch as far as how do you make your customer feel?
Oh, there's a lot there. We could do an entire series. I think it's important when you know how you want your customers to feel, that is intrinsically connected to you understanding them in the first place. So I encourage people at the top of the year, do a check-in, do a checkup, call it a health checkup, whatever. I had somebody that I worked with at Lewis and Company years ago, and he was really good. He was the VP of marketing, and we worked with them for a long time. And he did a health checkup every year. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you do? He goes, I go out and I ride with my salespeople. And I go to customers And I make sure I take a ride with every single salesperson. And he's like, yeah, it's a lot of work. But he said, it's so important because I like to check in with them, with customers. And I think it's a great time of year to say, how are you? What's important for you this year? You're not trying to sell them anything. You're not trying to bother them. It's like, hey man, you know, just call them up. Say, do you have 5 minutes? I just wanted to check in and let you know I appreciate you. And I want to be I want to be of service to you this year in a bigger way. So to do that, I need to understand what's happening in your life.
Nice.
It just like, again, it fills me with joy, like to do that and really understand who they are and what's important to them today, because it's going to change and it's probably different than it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got a nice comment from Paula. Paula, Happy New Year to you. One of my favorite sayings is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Paula, fantastic quote right there. That's a drop the mic. Looking forward to your newsletter. You are funny and inspirational. You are a good judge of character, Paula. Thank you for joining us. So again, guys, go to Felt Marketing, subscribe to Allison's newsletter. You will thank us later. It is absolutely amazing. Allison, let's chime into number 4. What's the number 4 tip to really slay your goals for
Year of the Dragon? I like to use analogies and illustrations. Like being a designer, first and foremost, that's how my brain works. And so I always see things in like illustrations. And a number of years ago, it hit me. How many customers do you really need this year? How many new customers? And most manufacturers I talk to, small, let's say small, I'm like, do you need 100? And they're like, oh no, we can never handle that much work.
Yes.
We're already really busy. And I go, okay, do you need 50? And they're like, no, it's usually like a handful, right? If you got a handful,
3, right? 3 to 5
new, really good accounts, you'd be set. You'd be able to be of service. Your capacity would be in line. You could always grow that a little bit. But so I started thinking, why do we cast, and I did a blog post about this years ago. Maybe I'll bring this up in this Sunday's WTMFG. But I always thought of Forrest Gump, right? When he was out on the shrimp boat and he threw out the wide net. And he threw it out and he threw it out and he would drag in everything under the sun, a freaking toilet seat lid, boots, all kinds of shit. And I thought, why do we keep telling people to do that when it's not necessary? You'd be better off if you run around with a butterfly net. Think about that. And then get very specific. Not just any butterfly. I'm looking for the monarch. I'm looking for the monarch butterfly, and that's what I'm doing. So now it just got so much easier for me. This gives me chills. It's really true. This just got so much easier for me as a company or a marketer to market, create content for that monarch. I'm not creating content for every butterfly all over the world. That's overwhelming. Then you try to kitchen sink it. Oh, did I get enough in here for this kind of butterfly and this kind of, am I too corporate? Am I too friendly? Stop. Like, write to the monarch. Create a video for the monarch. Put stuff in your newsletter every 2 weeks for the monarch, which is what I do. I always think like Warren Buffett, you know how he writes his annual letter and he writes it to his sister Doris. And I love that. So every week or every 2 weeks when I write that newsletter, I'm writing it to, and she'll be embarrassed if she's on the call, but I'll write it to Valerie Weber.
Val Weber, man, she's right here in my backyard. I knew you were going to say Val too.
I do. And I think what would help Valerie, what would help to equip her, inspire her, educate her, make her laugh. What would this do this for her? And what are some things I can give her that she could take today and put into play tomorrow? She could start using this right now. So that's what I try to do in every single newsletter is you have steps and an example of maybe somebody else and what they're doing. And I think that's inspirational. So I think that's very important. Like, think monarch butterfly net, not the Forrest Gump shrimp boat net where you're trying to attract everybody, because it's
That's awesome.
it's exhausting.
Damon, our first moment of silence for 2024. Not even to drop the mic. That was a moment of silence right there, Allison. So, guys, let's just recap that. Be the monarch butterfly net. That is such brilliant advice. Absolutely love that. And how many, unless you're a retailer or, coffee shop or whatever, where you need those thousands, hundreds, whatever of customers, you're hitting it right on the head. How many, you could be an accountant, you could be, marketers, you could be manufacturers. There's so many businesses where, man, if I got a handful, 10 would be like a home run. And if you just laser focus, and when you write that newsletter, write it to Vail. Man, that couldn't be better advice.
Yep.
It really lifts the load. It really does.
Lifts the load.
Yeah. Because then I'm just trying to talk to someone, right? I'm not trying to sell her anything. I'm trying to demonstrate thought leadership. I'm trying to demonstrate giving and being of service. I don't know. And I wonder sometimes if that's my downfall with Felt, is that I think sometimes the Super Friends have pointed out, you don't ask enough. You don't put a call to action and ask for what you really want at the end. And I'm like, I'll have to think about that. Yeah. Maybe I should start doing that more. Right. It's like, I do it at the end of every blog post. So I'm really good about that. But I think I'm just such a fan. And I know you guys are like this as well. We're generous with our time. We demonstrate up front that you can trust us, that we're friendly, that we're knowledgeable, and we're going to be of service before we sell. And so I will probably never stop doing that because I really believe in it.
Well, I love, serve before selling. That's a great line right there. Ray says, love how Allison helps business leaders center their own emotional life balance while bringing heart and humanity to the brand. Thank you, Ray. What a highlight of 2023 for me. I got to meet Ray Zagano in person.
I know.
That's awesome.
Man, that was so good. So, all right, Allison, let's start taking it home. I know, like, you are busy Wonder Woman saving lives on a daily basis. We'll start taking it home. Okay, so just recap again, guys. You want to hit the replay button. This was just, it's gold every year as we kick off the new year with Allison, repeat offender here on our show. Too many times to count. Allison, any other tips, tricks of the trade that you want to share to help folks just crush their goals for 2024?
I may have one more thing on the grill. Let me check. I do. All right, you ready? This has been on for a while, and it's been smoking, and it's ready. So I would encourage people to think about building a better system to make sales easier. And this means, so somebody's thinking like, okay, what does she mean right now? What does that mean? So how many of us we have a website? Is it up to snuff? Should we be making some changes so that it's easier for our potential and current customers to consume, to navigate? Are there calls to action everywhere so they know what's next? Are we guiding them? You've got that. You've probably got social media. You're on social media, right? Do you have any kind of a strategy that connects all of these things? Are you talking about, like, I'll just give a simple system and everybody could use this on their own with or without a marketer, okay? Create long form content and then turn it into 15 to 30 different conversations.
Mm.
That's a system.
Mhm.
So what do I mean by that? Take WTMFG, for example. So we take the newsletter, you write the newsletter twice a month. It's only twice a month. It's not every day. Okay. I don't want to overwhelm people. They've got enough going on in their inbox. So I like to be respectful to show up twice a month as scheduled. Then take the information from that and turn it into a blog post that you put on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got it in two places and you want to adjust it, right? Because a blog post, you're not going to say like, hey, Trailblazer, you take that stuff out and then put a call to action at the end. Then you could literally take 10 different things from that blog post and turn those into social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
You can then take, you see where I'm going with this?
Mhm.
So the whole point is think big piece of information and then break it down and utilize it everywhere. And then think about your autoresponder on, which we're working on right now to improve it.
Mm-hmm.
Autoresponder for when someone signs up for your newsletter. What are you sending them?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to say, we don't send anything. Shit, what should we be sending? And it's like, send a thank you, but then what else? What's next? What's in it for them? Then if you set up a series, so maybe every 2 weeks, they're going to hear from you for the next 6 weeks. And what are you doing? Are you trying to sell them your widgets? No, you are not. You are giving them something that will equip, inspire, help them make sales easier with their customers. So be of service and then have the call to action at the end. You're there to support them if they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this other resource. If you haven't, here's, like we created guides. So we have a marketing strategy guide, social media guide, trade show guide, content guide. Those guides are on our LinkedIn page.
Mm-hmm.
They're also, we mentioned them in all these different kinds of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So they're everywhere for you and they're free. Mm-hmm. You could use them on your own and never hire us. Mm-hmm. So demonstrating, building this system so that it's working while you and your salespeople or person, because again, you may be really small and have one salesperson, it's working while you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You're making money while you're sleeping. Is there some download, right? We're working on that as well. A new download that people can purchase. So you've got free content, you've got purchased content. Mm-hmm. People are buying that. Maybe it's a digital course. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm working on right now is a digital course. So you can help yourself self-serve and you can just purchase it and go. And I'm asleep on the beach in Hawaii. I'm putting that out there to the universe.
Yeah.
So
send us a postcard, will you please? So we'll have you on the live show when you get us on your live show when you're on the beach.
Yes, I will do that. But it's true. So building that system, and if anybody has any questions, like they can put it in the chat, we can answer. But I think that's the thing I see missing usually is that there is no system, and it doesn't have to be big and complex, but you can't, you're missing so much opportunity. If all you've got is a website and a brochure and a trade show booth that looks like everybody else's, you're not reaching out to people before, during, and after the trade show. This is simple strategy, folks, but it's really doable and it'll make a massive difference. And
Allison, if for folks out there that are at a trade show, they have a booth by chance, do you recommend, should somebody be standing in the booth when I'm asking for a friend. I'm just curious. So
yes. And I thought about this. Okay. It's funny how things come back to bite you in the ass.
Yes, it is.
That's how Kurt and I met. I did a post about a trade show booth that was beautiful and there was nobody in it. And it was like high traffic time. And I honest to God was not trying to be mean or because I'm just not like that. But it just struck me. I thought, how come there's nobody in there? And it was for quite a while. But there was nothing there for me to do without them. So recently, I was at a trade show for the foundation that I'm executive director for, part-time. And I was the only one at the show. And let's just say I experienced some intestinal issues and I had to leave the booth. And all I could think of, well, I was in the bathroom. I was like, son of a bitch. I thought, be careful what you say and do. Because you gotta come back.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding. It's going to bite you in the ass. But what I learned is you make sure that there are things there. So see, I've evolved my thinking, and based on my own experience, is have a QR code that's someplace, right? For somebody, if they want to get more information, have the giveaways, have some things out for them. Have, like, I do a quiz for this particular, in this booth, a quiz. So you can self-serve and like see how much you know about the industry and whatnot. It's on an iPad, on a little stand. Have some things available.
Right.
So that in case you are indisposed for any amount of time and no one's in your booth, you've got ahead.
Did you, and you could even have a cutout of yourself, or like with AI, like who knows, right? Who knows what's possible these days?
I'll be right back.
That is, my cheeks hurt right now. That is absolutely hysterical. That is so funny.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I cannot believe that.
I wasn't even going to share that. And that just came out of nowhere, but it was like,
that just came out on live.
I
did decide to be very vulnerable. I set an intention before this live, and I said, I want to be of service. I want to bring massive value, and I want to be vulnerable. There you go.
Well, thank you. Hey, you are vulnerable as always. And you know what, Allison, as we start winding down, we could go for like 4 hours. Okay. You love when I do this. I do this, I think, almost every time. I think last year I decided not to do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, Damon,
here we go.
Damon, are you sitting down? Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to read a little quote by my friend Allison. Allison, you know my favorite quote, right?
I do.
So here's a quote that was, all right, you guys ready? Is everybody sitting down for this one? Ready for this? Okay. Staying relevant and profitable today, and this was written 5 years ago. Allison, can you believe that? Dude, we've been friends that long. Like, this was...
I know.
Staying relevant and profitable today requires 3 things: continuous self-disruption, reorganization, and strategic communications. Continuously innovating and keeping pace with how customers search, purchase, and share to avoid falling into the abyss of mediocrity or, God forbid, extinction. Manufacturers must do something they've always resisted in the past. Yes. Drop the mic. That was written by Allison DeFord. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I shamelessly stole it, put it in my mom's favorite book. So Allison, I love that quote. Is absolutely timeless. When we're in our 80s, I'm going to be still reading that quote together on our live show, Damon. So we'll still be here. 20 years from now. We'll still be here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Allison, all right. Word of the takeaways. We're talking about stop, drop, review, stop your resolutions. How do you want to make your customer feel? The butterfly, the monarch butterfly net. If you missed that, please
go back and hit that one.
Hear the whole thing, but you definitely want to catch the monarch butterfly net. Allison, your word of the year is vibrant. Take us home. Any parting thoughts, words of wisdom that you want to share with everybody today as we kick off the new year?
Yes, sir. I've got something else to say. In case you had asked, what's the greatest lesson you learned in 2023? Because I think that's really important, right? Yep. What was the major brick to the head? And mine will matter to people listening or watching this, I hope, because it ties into, again, that personal and business. It's everything that happens is for my benefit. Let that sink in for a sec. Everything that happens is for your benefit. So if you are, I'm telling you, this mindset shift will change your entire life and your business. Because I had 2 accounts at the end of the year that said, "Oh, we're in. Like let's go." And sizable. Like these are going to be really good accounts.
Mhm.
And I was very excited. Their ideal fit, all the boxes were checked.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of went silent for the last 2 months of the year. I kept reaching out, kept giving, and I had a big website project that also had to be pushed off by the client until January. And what I realized is years ago, I would have been freaking out. Why didn't they say yes yet? Why didn't they sign the proposal? Oh my God, we've got receivables and we've got end of the year stuff, and I would have gotten myself all worked up. What did we do wrong? And just spent way too much energy. Why didn't these things happen like I thought they would? And what I figured out, and this is just one small part of this whole lesson. This is just an example. Those folks not saying yes yet gave me the time that I needed to travel, to spend with my mom for a week at Thanksgiving and really be present. Mm-hmm. Even my sister was there. She noticed. She goes, "You always work when you're here." And she goes, I've seen you open your laptop once for like 20 minutes. And I said, I know. I set an intention and I had the time to do it.
Yeah.
And same thing with, it was all for my benefit. So I think if we can, and it's a mindset shift that some people are going to go, "What's she talking about? That's stupid. That's new age. That's woo woo." If just think about it. If something's not going your way, same thing with my divorce. Same thing with, fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. Everything that happens is for your benefit. And if you look mm-hmm. at it that way, it changes everything. Mm. So I'll leave you with that.
We love you. We absolutely adore you. We worship you. We love you. And man, my gosh, Damon.
Yep.
We might not be able to have another show after this one. How are we going to have another show this year after dropping that?
Woo! It's true. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's true.
John, my buddy,
on the way.
I've been in a similar position, have come to understand how this change in mindset can alter your view on life. Thank you, JB. Appreciate you, brother. Great chatting with you this morning. Allison, thank you. We appreciate you. We applaud you. We commend you. We worship you. We love you. Thank you for sharing your passion, your energy, your brilliance, your expertise, your beauty, just everything that you represent is we just thank you. That's all I can say is thank you. Damon. All right, guys. All right, let's do this. All right, 2024. Allison's word is vibrant. Go out there and be vibrant.
Yep.
Man, go out and just be someone's inspiration, just like this amazing young lady was today for us and does every day. Follow Allison on LinkedIn. Go to feltmarketing.com. I encourage you, invite you, welcome you, plead with you. Do yourself a favor. Sign up for Allison's newsletter. Yeah. You will thank us later. Guys, just have a great, amazing, incredible weekend. And we're going to have a great 2024. Damon, take it away, brother.
Oh, man. Kurt, how could we top this show? We're going to have to work our butts off to get better than this. And I think we're still going to fall short. But right. Allison, thanks so much for being here today. Just tons of value and just heartfelt love that you share your time with us and share what you do. Just thank you so much. I really want to encourage everyone that was listening. Thanks so much for the comments. Thanks for those people that are just out there listening and, you're doing what you're doing. You're taking your time to spend with us every day when we're on. It's awesome. Wind this thing back to the beginning. If you haven't, start from the beginning and go through, because if you're thinking about your marketing, if you're thinking about how you really want to connect with those customers on a level that shows them who you really want to be, go back and think of this and then get in touch with Allison. But for today, we're over with the manufacturing e-commerce success. We're winding this thing down, but we will be back again next week, won't we, Kurt?
We're here on Monday, dude. We're here on Monday. Guess who our guest is? You are. So, all right, guys. Have a great weekend. Join us on Monday. We'll see you next week.
You bet.
Thank
Bye.
you, everybody. Appreciate you.